Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Miriam Egg. I'm a social media strategist. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can become a social media manager. Now, the very first thing you need to know about becoming a social media manager is to know your position. No matter the success stories you hear, no matter how much you hear my story, hear other YouTuber story, the truth is you are not in our lives and we aren't in your life. So you need to know how your life is currently and how you're going to map a route or a learning curve to get you to prepare properly to become a social media manager, especially if you want to be earning in the six figures. So nobody just gonna throw money in your laps because you know how to make posts. What are you currently doing right now? How is your life right now? Do you have a job? Are you a student? Are you living in your parents' house? Do you live alone? These are some of the questions. Do you have bills to be paid? These are some of the questions you need to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. I'm just going to break this into like two categories of people. There are those who will need to quit their day job, like to quit your current job in order to make this transition fully. Now, I know a lot of people say social media management is a side hustle. I'm not talking about the side hustlers. In my case, at a point when I saw it wasn't just working, I had to rugged it and quit. A month later, I got a remote job working as a virtual assistant. Now, I'll get into that later. But right now, you need to know if your current job gives you the luxury of time to actually prepare to become a social media manager. If it doesn't, quit. You're not going to die. But if you know you're not that kind of person, you have to also put into mind how you quit your job. For example, some of you may be like me. I didn't have any backup plan, and this was because my job wasn't even paying enough for me to save. So I was spending 30K out of my 50K job. I was actually spending that much on transportation because I was moving from like one end of town to the other end of town to work. So it just didn't make sense to me at the time to still be holding on to a job that I'm not even feeding from when I could just quit and like take my chance on something better that I really enjoy doing. If you know that your job is not paying well and it's not even giving you the luxury of time, just go ahead and quit and then start building your career in this path. Now, for the second set of people is those who have a very good job. Your current job is paying fairly enough, but you don't feel fulfilled in it and you just want to make that transition into becoming a social media manager. In your case, you need to actually make a plan to quit, and that is you have to save a certain amount for a certain period of time. For example, you can decide, in 2023, I want to become a social media manager. So I can't quit my job right now because I have bills to be paid. I don't have any other source of income to feed me. I'm not staying with families, and I don't have anybody I can call for cash or to feed off on till I get back on my feet. In such a case, you have to plan to quit. And what that means is you may have to save for about 3 months. For example, save for 3 months while working your job. You have to save drastically. It means like cutting off some things that you don't necessarily need. It means changing your food. This is life changes. It happens. You have to save a good chunk of your salary for 3 months. That is enough for you to get the basic needs and the basic bills like your data, your power bill, and food for the other 3 months. So you save February, March, April for ahead for May, June, July, giving yourself a window space of 3 months to actually get either your first clients or to get a remote job. Second of the first set of people are those who have to transition. Now, you are not going to have to quit. Maybe probably your job gives you a space, or the kind of job you have. You have a part-time job, you have a full-time job that you don't really do a lot of things in the office. It gives you a window of space to actually transition into this career path. Now, for those of you who are transitioning, you will have to manage your time very well. Your own case is time management, and that is, you may have to use your lunch breaks to actually study, to actually watch videos, to read your materials, to take a course if that's the course of action you're taking. You have to actually manage your time properly, because if you don't, you will spend a long time trying to transition into something that can take you 1 to 3 months to actually transition into, because you will think you have a lot of time in your hands and you end up doing nothing. So you have to be deliberate with your time. When I first decided that I was going to become a social media manager, I had to make use of my transit time to work and back. Now, even if you are transitioning, what applies to those who are going to quit will also apply to you, because at a point, if you're not in an industry or in a company where you can make that career switch, maybe they have a media department, or I say media church, maybe they have an IT department you can switch to. You can actually tell them, oh, you want to become a social media manager, and just make that career change. If you're not in such a company, it means at a point you have to quit, and even though you are transitioning, you will also have to be saving money so you can make that transition smoother. My best advice, especially if you want to become a business owner or a freelance social media manager, is that you need to save, because not every time, in every case, the first set of clients you have are going to stay with you. Some will stay. I have clients who were with me from day one, and this is years, some 3 years, some 4 years, still handling their page. Luckily, in some cases, it's not the case. You may lose your first client in the first 6 months, in the first 3 months. So you actually want to save that buffer cash to help you when that happens, while you work for other clients, because it does take emotional toll, and sometimes you may need some time to regroup yourself mentally to go again. So what that means is, if you're making the transition, doesn't mean you don't have to save. You will have to save for those rainy days. Step 2 is, you need to get skills. You need to get skills up. Now, gone are the days where, because you can make a post, I don't know if those days were ever there, just because you can make a post, just because one of your auntie told you to handle a page and she bought followers, and I'm sorry, she did follow for follow, so you think you're a social media manager. No, no, that doesn't make you a social media manager. You really got to skill up, because if you're getting into this, especially as a freelancer and as a business person, you are going to be handling other people's business, and people are going to be taking money out of their pocket to give to you. So you are not going to waste people. This is not my auntie gave me her page to handle. Oops. This is not my auntie gave me a page to handle. I handled it, or I'm handling my personal page. I grew my followers. No. This is people's business. This is people's hard-earned money they are giving to you to actually handle for them. You can't just do what they can do by themselves and expect them to pay you a lot of money just because you call yourself a social media manager. No, you have to get the skills needed. Some of the skills you need is graphic design, writing, a bit of business administration, because you need to get organized, especially if you are coming in as a freelancer. You need to know a bit about running a business, not just for yourself as a freelancer, but also for those companies or those businesses you're going to be handling their page. So you need to know a bit of business administration. You need to understand marketing. I'm talking marketing in general, not just social media marketing. You need to understand different phases of marketing, different options. Not like you have to be a pro right off the beginning or right off the bat from the very start. No, you just need to have a good idea of what these other areas are and how they play into what you want to do. You also need to get yourself familiar with social media management tools and different platforms. Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot by upcoming social media managers is, do I need to know how to handle every single social media page? The truth is, no, you don't, because there are hundreds of social media platforms. The ones, just because they are popular ones like the Facebook, the Twitter, the YouTube, doesn't mean they are the only ones. They are Pinterest, they are Reddit, Quora. These are places where people gather together to socialize in their own way. You may not be able to know how to handle every single one of them in a year or in 2 years. So just pick the platforms that maybe something you really find easy. You can start from learning about those platforms, about how to actually grow a brand or build a business on those platforms and attract the right audience. Just choose the ones that are really most important to you at the moment. And how you can do that is you can actually go online to see some job descriptions, see the prominent platforms they ask about, like, oh, what platforms are they really asking for somebody who can handle in or for. So you can start with learning about the platform. You also need to know where you're starting from, and that is, for some of you, you may actually be starting from like the scratch of learning what social media management is. You need to learn design, you need to learn how to write properly, how to communicate your writings, how to write authentically, how to understand, you need to understand what the target audience is. And it's okay, you can definitely do it. Nobody got here from their mother's womb and knew everything about target audience or everything about social media. We all had to start somewhere to start learning about the things we know today. Some of you may already have some prior knowledge in the IT space, in the tech space, or in the marketing and sales industry. So if this is what you are, it means you may not necessarily have to start from scratch in learning. It means you just have to find out what you don't know and learn what you need to know. Okay. Also, get familiar with social media management tools, like tools for scheduling, the Hootsuite, the HubSpot. You don't need to learn all of them. Just find one and understand how it works. And all the others are basically similar. Agorapost, the Buffers, the G Suits, Canva, or any other design platform. If you have, like I said, if you already have a background in graphic design, maybe you already know how to use Photoshop and such things, you may not need to learn Canva. But Canva just makes life easier for everybody, and it saves everybody time. And even if you don't use it all the time, it's just good to know how to use it, because it's in most jobs or with most clients, you may just need to share a design, and Canva makes life easier. You also need to know how to do a bit of video editing. Now, if you don't know how to video edit right now in this beginner's level, I highly recommend getting Mojo. Get the Mojo app. It really helps. You can just use their templates, put in your own graphic and videos, and put in your own text, and it basically helps you create reels easier and faster. But if you're good with Canva, you can actually create reels using Canva. Step 3 is practice, practice, practice. Ta-da! Oh God, what was that? You have to practice your crafts. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to get your hands into the grind of the work. Meaning, I know definitely why you are skilling up and studying. If you had the opportunity to take a course to make it easier for you and to save you time, you must have actually experimented on some of these things. So now you have to be deliberate with practicing. And there are several ways you can go about practicing being a social media manager. And one of those ways is to start with your personal page. It means start by building your own personal page and being deliberate about it. That's just one way to go about it. Another way is through internships. As with all career paths, everyone knows being an intern is one of the easiest ways to break into any industry. Now, you can either get a paid internship if you're so lucky, or you can get a free internship. But here's the thing about actually interning. you need to make sure you are interning at the right place. Internship is not slavery. Internship is not slavery. So just because you're an intern doesn't mean your life and soul has to be dedicated to the company or to the person you're interning with. This particular company or person you want to intern with, do they know social media management? Do they know marketing at least? Can they really correct you? Can they watch what you're doing? Is there somebody in that place who is going to be watching what you're doing, who is going to be correcting you, who is going to be teaching you the things you need to know? So it's not just about getting a company where nothing has been happening and say, okay, let me intern for you. No, if you are going to intern, make sure it's a place you can actually learn your craft, where you can actually learn what it means to be a social media manager, and that will involve actually getting a space where you know someone is going to be there to teach you and monitor your progress. Even if it's not paid, you can actually go ahead and take it depending on how your life is. That's why I talked about in the first step. It's very important to know your position so you can save ahead and you won't like be hungry or something. That thing you have to take note in your internship, let me not forget, is to put a timer on your internship. Sometimes people go on internship and they become forever staffs or forever interns. If you're going to intern in any place as a social media manager, I don't think you should spend, this is just me personally, I don't think you should spend anything more than 3 months if they are not paying you and if they are not retaining you. Anything more than 3 months is just ridiculous. I mean, somebody should have taught you something enough for you to actually like go and get a job or be on your own at that point. So put a time on your internship. Of course, a lot of it involve you being proactive yourself. Meaning, if you're interning at a company, don't just wait till they give you something. Start creatives, write content that you think the company can post. This will help you have like a legal ground to actually put the work you've done in that company on your portfolio or on your CV. Okay. Another way you can go about it is actually, if you are making a transition, especially, is to do social media management in the company you're currently working at. This is something I did when I knew I was going to get into this part. I started handling the media stuff in the company I was working in. Now, I came from the health industry. My work basically was to see patients, was to make glasses. But I knew this is not what I wanted to do, so I started to volunteer in the media space. It was non-existent at that time, so I brought the idea up to my boss, let him know, oh, we can do this with our social media, we can run ads, we can do this. And I couldn't do it at the time myself, but I got an expert to come in to do it for the company. So in that process, I was learning from the expert doing it, and I was also the one in charge of doing it. So that gave me some time to actually learn and actually get my hands on the company's page. I started managing the page, started managing the content, started even creating content myself. If you ever see me on any other YouTube channel looking very slim, please understand those were days of little beginnings. Anyway, offering your services to the company you're working at currently, if you're making a transition, would actually help. But before you do that, please make sure your HRO is going to be cool with it. If you know your company is an uptight, toxic environment where growth and trying out new things is not welcomed, please don't go telling your HRO you want to start doing something else. They may just interpret it like you don't have work or you are not busy enough, and then put more load on you and take away the little time you have to actually learn. So, like I said, read the room, read the company, know where you're at before actually going to offer to help them. But if you know that it's something that they've always wanted to do, they just don't have somebody to do it, offer it. Don't go there telling them, tell them, oh, I know how to do social media management and I feel we can really get some traction and visibility online with this service we are offering. can I be of assistance? Can I have login details to actually handle the company's page? If your boss is nice, he's going to add some small thing to your salary. But if, well, they're not as nice, you're going to have to do it for free. But the point is, you're making a transition, meaning you're still earning salary from that company. So, hey, you just want to be able to practice enough to know, and then you can actually add the company in your portfolio. The last thing you can do for practicing is to actually practice on a job. There are lots of jobs out there, remote jobs out there, and non-remote jobs out there. Actually, I personally do not believe somebody who is a social media manager should be made to work a 9 to 5. I mean, why? Why? If not just that you just want to control somebody's destiny. But why? The point is, you have options, and you can actually work remotely and learn on the job as an entry-level social media manager. There are a lot of opportunities on LinkedIn, lots of opportunities on so many job websites out there, so you can check for entry-level social media management jobs and you learn on the job. Okay, another easy route you can take is to actually apply as a virtual assistant. When I decided to make this transition, I actually quit my job, and the first role I took remotely in this path was to be a virtual assistant in a creative agency. So now I looked at the company, they had a lot of potential at the time. They were just starting out, like rebranding, I think. So they did branding, they did marketing, and I saw the persons who were going to be my boss, the things they've done in the past in the media space. So I decided, okay, this is a place I would really like to be in, because they seem to have some basic foundational things that I would also like to learn about. So I decided to join the company as a virtual assistant. Now, one of the things you need to know if you want to join as a virtual assistant is to actually check the job description. You need to know if there's something that has to do with social media management within the job description before you actually take it. If there's nothing that has to do with social media management in that virtual assistant role, it simply means you are just making a pivot into becoming a virtual assistant and not a social media manager. Point is, there are lots of opportunities, a lot of job opportunities for you to actually practice with, like practice in. So do not be afraid to jump right in if you don't want to go through the internship route or any of the other routes we talked about. The fourth step, which is the last one, guys, is you need to get a coach or join a community. In the social media space, you really can't know it all or be it all. And what that means is that you need to be connected to other people. Literally, that's what your job entails. So you need to be connected to other people. If you can afford to actually pay for a social media manager course or a social media management course, it will be better, because most of those courses comes with coaching and coaches. If you can pay for a one-on-one coaching with someone who can really take you by the hand to lead you through the entire journey, that is great. But if you can't, you can start by joining a community with social media managers. Okay, so in the description below, I'm going to link a Facebook community which I found to be very helpful, maybe one or two which I found to be very helpful. Now, the thing about finding a community, if you want to do that yourself, is that you have to make sure the community you're joining actually have social media managers, people you can actually ask questions about the challenges you're facing, and there are people there who really knows the answer. Don't go and join a blind leading the blind community where everybody is just trying to get followers, or where everybody is just trying to get clients. Okay, you have to make sure the community you're trying to join is education based. Okay, one way to get coached for free is to actually use YouTube. YouTube is like a free school. You can find people who are already doing what you want to do and subscribe to their YouTube channels and actually turn on the notification bell so you can get notified when you put out new content, new updates, and that can help you start getting used to the terminologies, to the industry, and to what is really going on in the social media space. It just helps you ease in better. So at the end of this video, I'm going to link to another YouTuber that I've been listening to since day one. I know it is like a taboo on YouTube to link your video to other people's video, but I think this person's channel will really help you. So I'm just going to link hers, and after watching this video, I'm going to find a relatable video to this. So after watching this video, you can go ahead to watch hers. But before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button so YouTube can show this to more people and know that I'm really trying here. Okay, so subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.